and time involved to repair 350 to 400 cars, new and used, is just prohibitive. So the thing we need to do is mark them down and get them out.
Down the street here at Fraser Ford, more than 400 cars sustained hail damage, and the philosophy here is the same: move them out before the next hailstorm hits.
Well, we're hoping they don't hit us anymore. We've ordered a bunch of new cars for inventory now, so we got to get these moved out of here. We ordered them, called them in yesterday, and they'll probably be coming in the next week or so. And we've got probably over 400 cars we've got to get moved out by that time, and we're hoping they don't hit us anymore.
The bottom line is we were acting out of a crisis situation with the Middle District losing some $1,600,000 in federal money. And we had to find another source of revenue. And we knew that $1,700,221 is languishing in the county treasurer's office for the benefit of our school district.
Most young couples are priced out of being able to qualify to buy a home. The housing market today is such that when young people want to find a decent home to live in, that the interest rates are so high that they have difficulty in qualifying for a loan for the price home that they would like to live in, or maybe from the home that they were raised in.
So the housing market looks pretty grim right now, and things don't look any better for the near future. But at least in one area of the economy, things are beginning to level off. And Larry Otis has that report.
Each year, the Oklahoma State Fair offers a variety of carnival exhibits, and each year the fair officials select just who can and cannot set up for fair operations. Just how that selection is made is now being questioned by a carnival operator who says he and other operators are being left out in the cold. Gene Sorrells told council members that fair manager Sandy Saunders only allows one carnival operator to take part in state fair operations, despite bids that are more competitive.
There's several carnivals that are better than the show you have, that would give you more money. You don't even have any ride supervision at the present time. All you have is an insurance policy. Well, that's fine. You know, if someone gets killed out there, they're insured. But who inspects those rides before your children get on them? No one.
Is that, you know, we get these kind of charges every day. And I'll certainly do anything as a council member, and I think the rest of the council will. But I would just like to have something in black and white, something that you can say where this guy pays off this guy, whatever. And then I think that the charges certainly should be looked into.
The council decided to vote next week on whether or not to cancel the contract between the Fair Board and the city. That is, if allegations can be proven. Ed Stewart, Action 4 at City Hall.
So now we're going back to district court and proceeding with this case, taking away what they said. It starts off real good. It says, any contract of office, the constitutional oath of office of an elected officer. And so it's going to be our contention tomorrow that may the legislature authorize trustees of public trusts to do business with trusts. That's the question. We say that such legislation is unconstitutional. Of course, the plaintiffs, the various public trusts who sued us, say that it's constitutional.
Tomorrow, the district court will hear the arguments on the constitutionality of the conflict of interest question, but the Attorney General says the court's decision will not end his ongoing investigation into other possible conflicts of interest between public trustees and the public trusts they administer. Scott Wallace, Action 4 at the state capitol.
A viewer says, my daughter has been dating a boy for about 3 years now, and they've decided to get married. They're both 17, and I feel they're too young. Can my daughter marry without my permission? Well, no, not in Oklahoma. Your daughter can marry without your permission only if she is 18 years of age or older. If a person is between the ages of 16 and 18, then they must have the permission of one parent or their legal guardian before a marriage license can be issued and a formal marriage ceremony can take place. That age limitation, by the way, applies to both boys and to girls. Keep in mind, however, that there are other states that provide for younger marriages and have few or no residency requirements that must be satisfied before a marriage ceremony can be performed. For Action 4, this is Ray Vaughn with Legal Briefs.
I'm dying, I can't stop it, And what can I do? You go to a doctor, they don't know nothing about it. You go to your family physician, they don't know nothing about it. You ask VA to let your doctor know some things, and they only give them a bunch of stuff that don't have any meaning at all for treatment. And you just kind of wonder about it.
Anybody tells them nothing wrong with you,
Sort of looking at the cause of what is happening. Same with the way they, I feel like the government, the watery blisters, and on the back of my hand. And in my business,
you can apply for grants. We can. You'll have a rash from head to toe, and your diagnosis, at least mine was, I had a rash on my face because of dandruff. I had a rash on my legs because my bath water was too hot. And my hands, this is the truth, honest to goodness, my hands, I had dunked in some chemical that day, and I wouldn't tell them what it was. Now, this all occurred on the same day, rash from head to toe. But it was 3 different diagnoses.
LSD treatment thing. They wait till all the guys just about to die it out.
And then they've got the same thing. Yeah, I don't think it's going to come out open until...
Maybe in our advertisement effort.
The 26-year-old Wheeler dealer was in federal court today at a bankruptcy hearing to decide who was going to be the trustee of his complicated financial affairs.
Well, I would hope that they have confidence in his ability. He's made a number of them a substantial amount of money, but then the fact is that we have to recognize this has been a trying thing, and it's a very distasteful thing to everyone involved, particularly the people who have their money in it, and Mr. Everett.
Off the record, some of Everett's investors express confidence in his ability. They say that once the trustee delves into the records, that he will find enough assets to cover the debts. But we won't know whether that's true or not for another year. Ted Brown, Action 4 at the Federal Courthouse.
There you go. That's the first time you want it on the porch. Here, Paul, you want it? There you go. Take care, y'all.
We've had a lot of tears. She still can't understand why. She's one of them. She doesn't see the difference in, I'm a boy, he's a girl, you can't do that. She was upset when we were told they wanted to take her awards away from her. She won those. She worked the same as any of the boys did for those.
Do you understand why they're telling you can't be in Cub Scouts anymore?
Yes, because I'm a girl, and girls shouldn't be in Cub Scouts. But I like Cub Scouts.
Do you think that's right?
No, I think girls can be in Cub Scouts too. There. Go on.
She has never done this before, never been away from home, and if she went somewhere, she'd always call us and tell us where she was at, and this is why we know something has happened to her, you know, and it's just been about to kill the whole family, you know, because she was a Christian girl, and we just can't see her getting in a car with somebody and taking off without letting, you know, somebody know where she's at.
not unusual that he is not here today. There's nothing planned in his not being here. He just wasn't scheduled for today. Today, negotiations went off with no hitch. We went ahead and negotiated. We talked. I think it's sad that they would be so reluctant simply because one of our resource people happens to be here.
Barlow has other obligations for the rest of the week, but he is scheduled to appear on the union bargaining team next Monday. Whether talks will continue or stalemate then is up to the full administration. Sue Lauer, Action Forum.
Millions of Americans carry tiny tear gas canisters like this one for self-defense purposes. But if you plan to travel on the airlines, there's something you should know. It's against the law to carry these canisters with you on the plane, so you need to check them in at the security gate. And if you don't want to check in your spray, then you better leave it at home.
We're through here. No, right down this way.
In the event that this was on a person in their possession, by simply grabbing someone and holding it up to your face in a hostage type situation. If it were accidental and it was in a purse, for an example, or if it was in your pocket and it got punctured and you were at 30,000 feet, you're going to endanger a few people.
I camped out here last night.
You did?
Yeah.
How many people were here with you?
Oh, there was about 100 people here last night. And then I went home at 4 o'clock, 8, went to sleep and came back at 8 and been here ever since.
I'm looking for anything that's open right now.
Doesn't matter what it is?
No.
Is your social security number here?
We normally take about 2,000 a day. Any day we take them.
What is the thought here? All these people lining up for just a few jobs, or what do they expect to gain by this?
Well, we really don't know how many jobs we will have. But the salaries at General Motors, I think, is the drawing factor, probably, and their benefits are excellent.
sign on the red line, initial the circles.
The prevalent attitude about the strike seems to be wait and see. So if the air traffic controllers do decide to walk out, they could catch some industries, like the car rental business, totally unprepared. And that could mean that the air controller strike could have a greater effect than some people ever imagined. Charles Schnitzer, Action 4 at Will Rogers Airport.
Check in? Oh, yes. You going to Big Ranch? State number 21. Thank you. Hi. What city? Albuquerque. Bye.
Worried a little bit about being able to get back. I'm going to New Orleans as my final destination. And not a bad city to be locked into, though. But that's why I left earlier today, was worrying about not being able to get out of here Monday or Tuesday. So I hope they get it settled.
Sister's coming to Houston to pick me up, so I'm not worried. But in 3 weeks when I go home to North Carolina, I certainly hope it's settled.
I would have spent 3 hours in the car that I didn't care to put, my time as far as driving wise.
No, we kind of planned for in case they did strike, and we had another car available down in Fort Worth where we could have driven on up to here. And they told us that they had bus lines and Amtrak available for their passengers in case something came up.
So rather than book a round-trip ticket, I just booked a one-way ticket. Get them here, we'll worry about the rest of it later.
I didn't really feel like they were going to go out on strike, though. I felt like they'd reached some kind of an agreement before it came to a strike.
While ticket sales are starting to pick up at Will Rogers World Airport, it's obvious many people had alternative plans just in case controllers did go on strike. A lot of us use travel agencies. For a look at how business is doing there, here's Action 4's Ben McCain with the report.
Day to a week where you go 24 hours a day and you get no sleep at all. Of course, that's when the pressure is. Well, the only difference will be is that the procedural agreement is being lived up to finally by the school district. They agreed to it earlier that Mike Barlow or any other teacher who is an employee of the district, if selected by our bargaining team, would be eligible to serve on the bargaining team at the table during negotiations. It took a level 3 grievance hearing. It took protest action to the school board for them to come around and give justice on this. I commend them for doing that. I just wish it had happened earlier so that we wouldn't have had to get started off on a bad foot for the summer sessions.
Right about 45 minutes ago, the prosecution rested its side of the case. Tomorrow, the defense will start its side. Some of the key testimony today came from former county commissioners Jack Davis and Emil Montgomery. Both commissioners testified they had been splitting invoices for a number of years with Skipworth. By splitting invoices, the commissioners said that they bought non-existent materials from Skipworth. In return, they split the county money. Again, the defense will present its side tomorrow. Ed Stewart at the Federal Courthouse.